So everyone, welcome to Power Play with CJ. Today we're going to focus on the Florida Panthers and how I think that why I think the bottom's falling out for them. After making the playoffs last year, winning the Southeast Division, which I really wasn't too shocked last year. I thought they assembled a team that could play the game hard, play the game right, and really get it done on a consistent basis with the depth they had up front. They shocked a lot of people, made the playoffs, had two opportunities to knock out the New Jersey Devils in elimination games in overtime in 6 and 7, and New Jersey won both games, and then obviously went to the Stanley Cup Finals. But you look at this Panthers team going, the lockout hurt them momentum-wise. Trying to market a sport that's not popular in South Florida is pretty tough. I mean, the Iran's in an outpost in the Everglades. The Heat win the championship in basketball. The Marlins are a train wreck. The Dolphins. But they realistically had some momentum. And you look at the NHL season this year. Pat Kane's having a tremendous season in Chicago. I'm not saying he was on the block over the summer, but Chicago was fielding calls for him. Why didn't Town put in a call for him? Try to give up Bukestad or Goodbranson, guy like that. I wouldn't give up Huberdeau for anyone short of Crosby, to be honest with you. But, and Huberdeau's been great. He's been sensational. The young kid's been, Shore's been awesome. Mueller, the one really off-season acquisition they made, has been pretty good. Kuba's been an unmitigated disaster. Losing Jason Garrison hurt, but, he signed that big deal with Vancouver, and, it's is what it is. And then, the goaltending situation's been tough. And you look at, they quote-unquote have a bright future with Bukestad, with Huberdeau, with Shore, Roback, Howden, Goodbranson, Markstrom, but they've had a bright future for the last 12 years. So look at the Weiss, who's really on his way out. His dad's a number in South Florida. The Weiss, Booth, Horton days, Kulikov. When he first came up, Kulikov's a good player. I'm not knocking him, but these guys, they're going to be cornerstone. One playoff appearance in the last 12 years. You're going to look at the internal turmoil. Trying to sell hockey, like I said, in a market where it's pretty tough to sell in South Florida. But, they got to examine themselves, what's going wrong, how can we, you need to sell a star in Miami. You need a centerpiece, and they really don't have that. I think Huberdeau can develop into one, but, there's an old saying, potential is a fancy French word, hasn't done shit. Like I said, I love Huberdeau. I've been a huge fan of it since the St. John Sea Dogs days, but, they got to go out, they got to acquire a bona fide star. They're in last place in Eastern Conference, tied with Washington. They haven't gotten it done consistently, and, being this poor for this many years isn't the message you want to send to your young players. Now, a few of these kids were up for the playoffs last year. Roback was around during the playoffs. I don't think he played. He did not play a game due to black ace. Even trading away Keaton Ellerby was. Even he tweeted the joke about how much the Florida Panthers were in disarray. But I think you can't just keep selling fans on the future. You're already in a tough position, like I said, to market, and just the future. Where do you buy tickets to the future? And I think it's a slap in the face of the fans for a team that really had some nice momentum going into the season, and like I said, the lockout hurt them, but it's tough. The Yonkman and the ownership got to look at themselves and say, what have we done wrong? I think Dineen's a good coach. I think Talon's a good GM. I just think they've got to. I don't know if the ownership support is there in terms of salary cap consideration. Being able to spend. I'm not saying spend to the cap right away. Don't. The whole thing on the Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins fire sales. We're not going to spend all this money for mediocrity. But if you can go out and get a bona fide stud, we'll see what happens. And Bukestad not signing kind of hurt them too. He's a hell of a player. Another one that's potential. But anyway, that's on some sort of the Power Play with CJ on the Florida Panthers free falling this season. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the season and beyond. Later, guys.